This is a re-edited version with human voiceover. Check pinned comment to see what parts are new. In the comics, we are still in chapter 3. The name of the episode is Friend, and this can have multiple meanings.
I'm saying this to you as a friend.
He's my friend.
You're a good friend.
We decided we were better off as friends.
The most obvious reason is of course the moment Charlie calls Nick his friend to keep his promise to keep the relationship a secret, but this episode is very much about friendships in other ways too. Namely the friendships between the group, especially Tao and Charlie, and Nick and Imogen finally settling into a more comfortable friendship in the end.
Thank you.
It's nearly midnight, can we please call it a draw?
No, because I'm clearly winning. I just have unlucky rolls.
No, I'm winning because I have more money.
You only have more money because you know all the Monopoly cheats.
You can't cheat at Monopoly!
Oh, whoops.
Isaac's book of the day is Jane Austen's classic Pride and Prejudice. For those who somehow don't know, it's about the Bennet family, especially Elizabeth Bennet, navigating society life and finding love and marriage in the English Regency era. Alice Oseman has a bit of a history of having her characters read this book as part of their English coursework. Tori reads it in solitaire, and her negative views on it show her distancing herself from love and other people. Nick reads it in a mini-comic where he has a Jane Austen-themed dream about Charlie before they get together. It is therefore possible that Isaac is reading this for school, but he does believe in romance, so it could be his own choice as well. Just as a personal hot take, I hate the 2005 Keira Knightley movie because of the stupid historical inaccuracies. Watch the 1995 BBC version, please. It's pretty much exactly the book, but better in my opinion.
There's never a good time to tell someone that their crush is going on a date with someone else. And I just don't like Nick. Oh, they look really cute. How's this?
This is where...
Are you talking about the dance scene where it's all that kind of that stuff?
Yeah.
All that crazy, yeah. There's nothing that I can quite relate to the feeling of at 8 a.m. in the morning, like stone cold sober in front of like a 40-man camera crew, all with like masks and visors, no one laughing. No music. There's something really bleak about that situation, and having for 1 hour and a half to twerk and dance in front of all of those people, that was really quite a challenge. And I had practiced the dance to make it as ridiculous and silly as possible. And I did practice in the mirror the night before, I have to say, and I did show it in front of my sister and say, what do you think? Is this really bad? And she was like, that's really bad. So when it came around to kind of doing it, I was like, yeah. But to dance to no music, and especially to twerk to no music, it's a different type of like pain.
Uncomfort
like,
level. Yeah.
It's so uncomfortable. And it was like 8 a.m. and I hadn't fully woken up. And yeah, and then also when you do take one, you have to keep it consistent for the rest of the shots.
Oh yeah, continuity, right?
You need that continuity. So I started with a crazy dance and I had to maintain it for like an hour and a half, and it was just intense. It was really good. But I'm glad it came together, and I think it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous dance, and I think that's kind of Tao's vibe and Tao and Elle's dynamic. It's silly, it's goofy, it's kind of nerdy in a way.
Yeah.
Oh my god, stop! Stop!
So, I was thinking of inviting Nick to my birthday thing on Saturday.
No, it wouldn't be awkward.
I assumed he was coming anyway. Okay.
So I've just been rereading Volume 3, because it's my favourite one. And I shit you not, that is the exact bedroom that we were in today. We were filming the sleepover stuff in Charlie's bedroom today, when we all have a sleepover there. And it's literally, like, almost picture perfect. Like, those exact posters were on the walls. The bookshelf, yeah, Charlie literally had all of Alice's books. And the drum kit. The drum kit was in that exact corner. The bookshelf and that little bedside table were exactly there. With that lamp, and then his bed and the music sign and the window this is all in, and the desk being down there. Like, it was all in the exact same place. That's so crazy. They've literally just built that. I fucking love it. I love Heartstopper. This is the most fun ever.
What?
I miss you.
I miss you too. It's just me and Isaac most lunchtimes now. I don't want to be alone.
You're not.
Thanks.
We even saw behind the scenes footage of them filming the deleted scene in Toby's vlog, and we had no idea until it was released at New Year's.
Firstly, and the scene directions are Charlie and Isaac both.
Hi guys, hi Will. Hi Gary, hi Jay. Hi. Hi big fat camera. Hi everyone. Sleepover. Hey girl.
Okay guys, it's just there.
Oh god, it's literally moving on its own.
The response to this deleted scene has been mostly that it would have helped people understand Tao better, and it's baffling that they chose to cut it anyway. This scene is 1.5 minutes and the whole episode is 23 minutes long, so it should have fit in just fine. Of course, to me this scene doesn't really tell you anything new about how Tao feels, but clearly many people didn't understand him and dislike him for being annoying. This scene would have been important in establishing the beginnings of Elle having feelings for Tao. It's also just so cute.
Are you okay?
My dog died last night.
Most common reaction here. Of course her dog died. Gotta go on that date now, buddy.
She has a dog who I called Winnie the dog. Bless, R.I.P. Winnie.
Ahmed, here.
You alright mate? Hyped for your date on Saturday?
Day on Saturday.
Yeah? Imogen told me you're meeting up on Saturday.
Poor Nick got so excited about Charlie's birthday he forgot about the date with Imogen. You'd think that would be a pressing matter on his mind, but Charlie completely overrode it.
Boys, watch this.
Now, did you identify like why Tao and Charlie were always targets for Harry?
I think if we got more of Harry, we would see him just targeting everyone, to be honest. But we get the scenes with Charlie and Tao. I think his actions aren't really like malicious, if you know what I mean. He just wants to have fun with them and like make fun of them in any way he can. And yeah, a couple easy targets. He sees them as easy targets. So yeah, I kind of think that's why you probably go for them. They've got like uniqueness about them. Like they're different from the popular kids in quotations, but yeah, he'll kind of go for that. He'll go for anything he can, that is different from like the mainstream.
Watch out, dick nozzle. You alright mate?
Harry, don't start.
Aww, you gay for them?
This is a pretty important moment in Nick's journey because it's the first time he's maliciously called gay when he knows there's any truth to it. He understandably shuts down here, and it'll make it all the more powerful when he starts standing up for himself in similar situations in future seasons.
Classic Harry, resorting to homophobia when you can't think of a good comeback.
Mate, are you in a mood today?
Are you? Serious question.
Life must be really hard when your only personality trait is rich bellend.
You shouldn't have done that. What do you mean? I know you're trying to help, but you're making things worse.
Tao is so opinionated, and he's not afraid to say what he thinks. He's very protective of his friends, and I think that's important attribute for any person. I mean, we all got to stick up for our friends, right? And I think that's something I really adore about him. I think he's so endearing, and through his for his protection of his friends, and I think that's just a beautiful thing that I resonated with. He's very confrontational as well, isn't he? He's not afraid to say what he thinks, and I love that about him.
Charlie sees Nick looking at him, ignoring Imogen. But Tao sees Nick looking like he's really focused on Imogen. People reacting to the show often forget that Tao hasn't seen any evidence that Nick might like Charlie at this point. He has an entirely different point of view to the audience.
Oh, what's up?
I said I'd go on a date with this girl, but I kind of also agreed to go to Charlie's birthday party on the same day.
This interaction really shows how Nick and his mom can talk pretty openly about things, and he's comfortable telling her stuff, to an extent. Lots of teenagers wouldn't feel comfortable talking about dating troubles to their parents.
Oh, do you like this girl?
Well, her dog died.
Ah, not following. Don't worry, the right girl will come along, just you wait.
I mean, she doesn't really mean anything by that, but...
I feel like I know her from somewhere.
That's Elle. She used to go to our school.
Weirdly enough, this is actually where Elle appears for the first time in the comics. It's stated in the comic that Nick had geography class with her before, and that's why he almost used her dead name here.
That's Isaac. He doesn't say a lot, but he's really nice.
This is what all my costumes for today. I've got an absolutely sensational shirt. Hello everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Today I am in my trailer. Oh, you can see my shirt. And I'm going to show you my outfit for today because we're doing Charlie's birthday party and we're all going bowling, and I've got a really cute outfit on, so I'm going to show you it now. So here we have it. It's very brave for Isaac, but it's birthday, you've got to push the boat out. We've got this like off-white t-shirt. It's a really fun flowery shirt, and then these are my favourite jeans. They have like pleats in them, can't really see it. And then my classic Isaac shoes, some Air Force. This is so funny. So basically this is the lovely Bruce, Jen and Viva, and they all worked on our crew, and on their lunch break they went to the H&M across the road from where we were shooting and all bought my shirt I was wearing that day and wore it. It was so funny.
Everyone, this is Nick.
It was probably during rehearsals when we first saw them all together in like the Heartstopper gang, and it was just very weird.
Can you at least try to get to know him?
I'll try.
Night night! Oh, Joe's awake now. Night night, Joey Jojo!
I don't wanna be a buzzkill, but my life is shit. Just don't want it. My life.
And the bowling, I think we shot there for 3 days, and I remember it's just kind of one day spilled into the next, and it was just kind of a blur of just these
all intertwined
neon lights and just kind of
yeah,
flashing lights and bowling, and it was really fun. I think it encapsulated what and then at one point Eros the director was just like, oh, just go bowling now, like we're just gonna shoot,
just have fun,
just go bowling. And that was most of the scene, and I think that was the best way we could have possibly like put that scene into onto the screen.
It's my first time bowling, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I told you, my first time.
Never ever before?
I didn't bowl before that, so that was my first time bowling, and I have to say,
you were good as well.
Filming, like, my first time bowling, being in a Netflix show was kind of a moment.
It's got these characters, and basically Fast is like ordinary people in ridiculous situations, and there's always a character that's very dramatic, and it's all in the hands. And Tao, I got that kind of hand gesture thing from Tao. Is it's all dramatic and everything's got a gesture to it. So he's like, I don't even want to do that. And I think that was inspired from like fast theater and fast. And then also my brother was an influence. Like my brother, young teen, like, you know, opinionated, moody sometimes, you know. So my little bro. Yeah.
That's so cool. And I bet you he's just like thinks it's the coolest thing ever that you're on this show and that you play this incredible character. He's probably like, yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah, no, he's not like that. He's like, he doesn't really care.
That's
but
funny.
He's like unbothered, but like in the best way. I think that's so good that he's like so unbothered because it's very grounding. It's really good. My Eros, the director, had something with me called a hammometer. So he said, if you're high on the hammometer, you're like hamming it up too much. You're being theatrical. So he was like, he'd come up to me and he'd be like, yeah, well, for this take, we're gonna just kind of slightly lower the hammometer. And I was like, yeah, okay, I know exactly what you mean.
That's it. I'm not doing it anymore. No more.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're just doing some behind the scenes. Okay, guys. Here we have Netflix's Kit Connor from Rocket Man. Ready?
Which one did you use? It's on the...
Ooh, that was really close.
You definitely cheated.
Oh yeah? How?
You have strong rugby arms.
Strong rugby arm. You okay?
Yeah. I'm good. You've got an unfair advantage.
I thought you liked my arms.
Shut up.
This is the flirtiest flirt that ever flirted, and Tar still doesn't think Nick is into Charlie. Today Isaac is reading Radio Silence, which is Alice Oseman's novel about Aled, the character Isaac is replacing from the comics. Nick and Charlie don't really appear in this book, but Tori has a tiny cameo. You can faintly hear Nick and Isaac discussing the plot of Radio Silence in the background in this next clip.
So what's your book about? About?
Did you actually read them while filming?
Well, there was quite a lot of books, and lots of them were quite hard, and I have struggled with dyslexia for my whole life, so I never was really like, I never felt were accessible to me. But, you know, through doing this show, I've been reading a lot more. But yeah, I was never really a reader before. So when we were on set, was only allowed to read 1/2 if I would turn the page in the scene pages of the book. So because of continuity, they didn't want it to look like I was, at one point in the scene, I was at the start of the book, and the other point I was like finished it, because that wouldn't make any sense. So I had to just read the same page over and over, which was frustrating because like some of them look like really great books. But yeah, I didn't read any of them apart from Radio Silence. I did read, and I did have input on Radio Silence, which is Alice's book that Isaac reads in the show. And yeah, I was like, this would be so cool, like meta, if we got, Isaac reading about Aled.
You need to stop this thing with Nick Nelson.
What?
He's going on a date with this girl. I heard him agree to it after that rugby match the other week.
You can see the washroom sign in the background. That is actually the door to the kitchen. Because the real Hollywood Bowl arcade was not laid out like in the comic, they had to tweak things a bit to make it look like Nick could overhear Tao and Charlie in the bathroom. When you look at it, it's actually pretty obvious that swinging door is really a kitchen door.
And now you're gonna tell me I'm just being jealous because you made a new friend and I'm scared of being alone.
Well, I mean, if the shoe fits.
I just don't like seeing him mess with you.
In the comic, Tao explains that he's worried about Nick messing with Charlie because he witnessed all the bullying the previous year and doesn't want that to happen again.
He's my friend.
Fine.
Nick is both appreciative and relieved that Charlie protected him and ashamed and guilty that he's making Charlie lie for him. I love that you can see that conflict in his face here. Kit Connor is just consistently such a good actor.
If he is even slightly mean to you.
Yeah. You'll murder him. I know.
I was going to say I sent him a strongly worded DM, but murder's fine too.
I think there's a lot of lines that I really enjoyed. I'd say probably the one about the DMs was quite fun. It was like, I was going to say I'd send him a passive-aggressive DM, but murder's fine too. I think that's quite a very Tao-esque line. And
That's
I think,
hilarious.
That was really fun, and that was made into a Netflix made that into a meme or something apparently, which was really fun. But yeah, a really good line.
I've seen a bunch of people react to this hug with some confusion. Even Charlie in the comic asks what the hug is for. To me, it's pretty clearly about the conflicted feelings I mentioned Nick having earlier. The hug is both a thank you and an I'm sorry. It's a hug of appreciation, but I think Nick wanted the comfort as well because he feels bad about the secrecy.
I feel my mental health would benefit a lot from a Nick Nelson hug.
Again, that's the hug. That's the hug we're talking about. I think, yeah, I think he's kind of, famous for giving hugs. So
he just looks like he'd give good hugs.
Thank you.
I win! Why am I so bad?
Well, your arms are basically twigs.
In the comic, Elle comments on Tao's adorably short arms here, but Wilgao is way taller, so it's changed.
Was there ever any concern about you being cast because of your height?
Yeah, I was really scared that I'd go into the final audition, which was all of us in a room. It was in person. I thought I was going to be way too tall because in the books, obviously, he's shorter. But it seemed to not be a problem when I was there. And they followed the character as the first thing. Height wasn't as important.
How dare you? I'm a very muscular individual.
You wish.
How did you do that?
I don't know.
You're very good at it.
What's a moment that really stuck with you and you'll keep with you forever from filming that first season?
There was a time when we were at the bowling alley scene and me and Yaz were stood just waiting to go on, and she just turned to me and was like, "We're gonna be friends forever, right?" And I was like, "Yeah," and then she just gave me a big hug. It was just really sweet, and it was so lovely, and it was such a nice culmination of sort of like everything we'd done, and it was just makes me feel all warm and cuddly every time I think of that moment.
Chip.
Thanks.
I don't know if this thing with Charlie is a joke or not, but for some reason he really likes you, and you're messing with him, and I will not tolerate it. So consider this your final warning.
But what was it like doing those scenes, and how did you create that unique bond on camera? It was very like a specific, unique bond.
With Kit.
Mm-hmm.
Or with Nick and Tao. Yeah, because it's quite funny because on screen, Tao doesn't really get along with Nick. But Kit and I, in real life, off screen as actors, we're really good friends, and it was really fun. And I built that kind of friendship with him before, so we had the comfort, in a sense, when it came around to filming those scenes, that we could really play with each other, and like we really played it in a real fun way. And I think again, like with me and Yaz, it was like a sense of ease. Like I felt so comfortable be able to play lines and play with the scene in a way that I don't think I would if I hadn't met him before and I hadn't kind of built friendship with him over the time. I guess that's why we had that kind of bond and that kind of awkward, angry chemistry, or kind of really, awkward.
You're right. You're a good friend.
So you're pretty much telling him, yes, I am messing with Charlie and I should stop. I guess Nick feels like he is messing with Charlie a bit because he's guilty about the secrets and the lying, but that response doesn't sound very reassuring to Tao's worries.
I know.
Sorry. Sorry.
Because it took so many times.
And because he kept on just like getting these chips and just like slowly putting them into his mouth.
I think that the scene directly after this, where there's a bit of like a conversation between Tao and Nick, me and Kit, we spent quite a few takes doing that because we started getting the giggles. So that was like 9 takes, I think. 9 takes? That's a shocker.
Do we have to run? Yes, before someone occupies the dance machine.
I wanted to say sorry about the date with Imogen thing.
He didn't hear that part though, unless they talked more about it after and it was cut out. Also, Nick's straw is blue and Charlie's is yellow. That attention to detail. Also rainbow lights.
You actually went on a date with her? No. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna make it right with Imogen. I'm gonna tell her I don't like her like that. Okay.
Why is seeing people just talk to each other in an honest way that just makes sense on a TV show so rare that it's surprising to everybody? Like, I personally learned how to communicate as a teen from watching a soap opera and just doing the opposite of what I saw there to avoid stupid, unnecessary problems. Seeing someone actually just say what happened and how they feel about it to avoid a miscommunication and added drama, why is this groundbreaking to me? I mean, I love it. This is how it absolutely should be. Granted, he could have brought this up much earlier himself, but good enough.
I should have met you when I was younger.
This had a different context in the comics. There Nick was referring to Charlie's bullying and he meant that he wished he would have been there for him then. Here it's more ambiguous. He's probably thinking about how he wished he had figured things out about himself, his friends and everything sooner. He's still very young though, and many people get to this point in their self-discovery much later in life.
Yeah? Sorry, it's a bit handmade.
So, did he just have all these cute stickers ready to go?
I really like you.
Who is the most romantic couple on TV?
Ooh. I feel like it's hard to beat Nick and Charlie. What can I say? No one can beat us.
You like me? Wasn't that obvious?
I want to kiss you so bad right now.
Okay.
You don't have to.
I want to.
You sure?
Yeah.
This show models such healthy communication. I could cry. This is from the Heartstopper Become Human alternate universe comic Alice made based on the video game Detroit Become Human, where Nick is an android and Charlie is a detective. I love how the lyric seems to reference it. I also love that Alice likes the same games I do. They also drew Nick and Charlie in Until Dawn once, and that's one of my faves too. He really did leave sorting that out to the last minute though. If they got here at 4...
So if we meet there at 4, then we can play 2 games and then get some food and then hang around the arcade for a bit.
He had a couple of hours at most before the planned dinner and a movie with Imogen. She's probably all excited and getting herself ready at this point. Was he just going to stand her up without saying anything? Was he going to leave Charlie's birthday to go secretly meet up with Imogen? Clearly he had no plan before this moment.
So my day-to-day experience on set, because I've been here every day, basically me and Patrick, one of the executive producers, we watch all the scenes, we talk to Eros, the director, we sort of share ideas about how things should be filmed, and we're also in consultation with all the different departments, like costume and art department and props. And I kind of feel like it's my role to represent the comic and the readers, and I think that we have achieved that.
Literally, how do you always beat me? I don't know what to tell you. I was just born to race. Where I'm going isn't far, but in case I go, no need to be stressed. Gotta take it home, get there.
You want to get slushies? God, yes.
Wait, I think I have two. I think I have two.
Quick.
We do know that there are moments of animation, and we all know what that animation means. So what stops Tao from pursuing that relationship with Elle?
I think for me, it is the fact he's kind of caught up in a lot of other things. I think Tao has got a lot going on in his mind and school and other areas of his life, and especially with Charlie. He's very, very worried about Charlie. And he kind of doesn't really have time to think about kind of or evaluate his friendship with Elle. And I think maybe at the end I won't spoil anything. We're not doing spoilers in this, but where things seem more clear for Tao and when things kind of are less intense in a lot of ways, he's really able to kind of evaluate his relationship with Elle and see something different.
Great success.
And then we had those Heartstopper moments, which are the special moments, and we kind of emphasized it in each episode and try to make them not only with animation, because we knew that animation is going to come on top, but also make a little transition from the world of film into the animation. So sometimes we would try to experiment with those things that would spark the, you know, the animation in, yeah.
Yes, because I read that you were very keen that there was like an in-camera moment to sort of signal those animation cues. So what sort of things were they? Can you give us a sense of what you did at those points?
There were a couple that, for example, the stars in the eyes of Elle, and as they start sparkling, the stars, we wanted to make it also in real life. So we had this very old school build from a black button, and in there there's holes for bulbs, and the practical part made the whole thing out of it. And it was just like kind of, you know, the way to make it the transition that is, you know, I could have just made it an animation, but I felt like it was so nice to try something in real life that it's like people will start thinking, is it real, is it not? Because in that space, there's a lot of lights that also flashing. So it's nice that you start noticing flashing and then it turns.
Hi.
Oh my God, is this Nelly?
I'm really sorry about your dog.
Bless Echo the dog. She wouldn't hug me. Nelly would not give Imogen a hug. I was really sad about that because I love dogs. So in the end, the trainer had to put just place a sausage in my hand. I'm a vegan and I don't touch meat. Like it's kind of like I can't. So in that entire scene, I was like holding a sausage in my hand so that Echo would be near me. So like any tears in that scene, they were real. Yeah, nothing like a bit of a meat in your hand as a vegan.
I thought Nelly might cheer you up a bit.
Thank you.
Risky move. He's lucky she didn't just cry more. I made a poll about this and it was almost 50-50 whether people would feel better or worse if you did this.
Sorry about yesterday.
I think probably one of the first things that I auditioned for with Nick was there's a scene with a character called Imogen on a bench in the park where he's sort of essentially talking about how
it's the one in the trailer, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he's saying he doesn't quite feel like he's really being true to himself and that he feels like he has to kind of change himself to fit in with others. So I think that's a really relatable scene for a lot of people, and I think it's a beautiful scene. And yeah, I mean, doing that as my first audition for Nick and then actually filming it was quite a full circle moment. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're only doing things because everyone else is?
And well, when it comes to popularity, both for Nick and in your case as an actor, would you consider popularity a blessing or a curse?
I think that's a great question, but I think it's both. You know, obviously popularity can be good because, you know, you have friends, you have a friendship group, a support system, but then at the same time it does kind of lead to these pressures and these sort of social pressures, and you know that can be quite damaging and quite negative for a lot of people, especially growing up in a school. Yeah.
Your real personality has been like buried inside you for a really long time.
I think one of the things that's challenging about Nick, firstly, is that although I think on the outside he's a very sort of, you know, happy, not a simple character, but very sort of, you know, simple in his needs. He doesn't require that much. And he seems quite sort of, certainly on the surface, very easygoing and calm and collected. And that's great. But I do think that he's a lot more layered than he looks on the surface. For example, I think that he's got a lot of complexity in terms of his mind and the way that he thinks and the way that he sort of sees himself in society. I think he sees himself as a bit of an odd one out, which is very, very common and something that I could certainly relate to. But I think, you know, portraying that complexity while also, you know, portraying that surface level of warmth and happiness was difficult. But I think also one of the most difficult things was also just trying to do justice to such a loved character. You know, when we first started making Heartstopper, it was clear how much the Heartstopper fans of the novels, the graphic novels, loved it so much. So, you know, we wanted to make sure that we did it justice.
Sorry, that probably makes no sense.
No. I think I get it.
Like I said before, I think there is something very similar in Imogen that is in Nick. The moment where he's like, about the expectations and stuff. I think she really genuinely sees that. She gets that. And so it's a really honest moment and raw moment for both of them. In terms of actually filming that scene, it was so windy and it just suddenly, like, the heavens opened and just poured with rain, and like everyone just like rushing like for umbrellas to cover us. And I was there like, oh, this is so weird. It was like, oh, it's the hair and makeup. It's not actually us to cover the rain. Like, I got you. It's the costumes. But yeah, and there's like massive shelter. Me and Kit were just under there, like. So the weather that day, was quite difficult.
Thanks. For being honest. We decided we were better off as friends.
You're proper thick about a girl sometimes, aren't you, mate? Every time.
These are lovebirds.
You know, we had a fantastic animator who we found through a social media shout out, who called Anna Perinetto, and she and myself and the editor Sophie Alonzi, when we were going through the stories, you know, if there were moments that maybe needed, I don't know, some like an extra bit of lift, like for example at the end of episode 5, Nick is sat on the bench outside the school gates, he's had the conversation with Imogen, that's not going to go anywhere, and he's thinking of Charlie, but that wasn't immediately apparent on the screen, and I think it was Sophie who had the idea about bringing the birds in, because the birds are icons from Alice's graphic novels, and then we perched these 2 lovebirds on the branch behind Nick, and then they fly off and swirl to the camera at the end of the shot, and that was something we discovered in the edit. So it was part discovered and part scripted.
There's a bit of a mystery I found on the IMDb page regarding this episode. There's this mysterious voice for Noah played by Andrew Malley, credited for episode 5, but I have no clue who that could be. I noticed this when I was looking for who Ben's girlfriend's actress was, and she was completely uncredited, so this weird mystery Noah sticks out even more. The only place I could think of for this is in the roll call in the beginning, but I couldn't hear a Noah being mentioned, and it would be weird to credit someone on IMDb for just saying here. I also found this Noah credit on other websites listing Andrew Malick's credits, but I have no idea what this is in the actual episode. Weird. And that's episode 5. See you soon in episode 6. Thanks for watching, subscribing, and all the likes and lovely comments.